Doing well, thank you. How are you?
Doing well, doing well. We
Good.
good. We over here. It looks like we got a couple people dropping in, dropping
Mhm.
in. It looks like we got some familiar faces, all of that good stuff. So we're gonna get it rocking. Um, as y'all know, my name. Well, if you don't know, my name is Kavanaugh Nweze, and I'm the founder of Nweze Financial Solutions. And we've been having these monthly talks to really give some people some information to make sure that people can understand wherever they are in their respective in their lives and in their business journeys. And every month we're gonna have a different topic. This month being Black August, so we really wanted to see what we can do to really speak to Black August, because a lot of people hear about it but might not know what Black August is. And then we wanted to tie it into something that makes sense to our everyday lives right here in today's world. So we wanted to give some history and give some action items for moving forward right now in everyday life. All right. Um, so I'm the founder partner, and I have my brother from none other, brother Derek. And before we started, I was speaking to him just a few minutes ago. We connected on Black August before, when we were doing when we were having the garden festivals and things of that nature. And brother Derek help us get the word out and spread the good news. And so it's an honor to be working with you again, brother Derek.
Honor's all mine, bro.
Already. I so like I said, I was we're gonna be direct to the point. We want to be honor everybody's time. So one of the first things as we get started, I want to pass it to brother Derek. You can give an intro to yourself and let's tell us something about about Black August.
Peace and blessings, brothers and sisters. My name is Brother Derek Muhammad. Let me first say it's an honor, a privilege, and a pleasure to have the invitation to speak to you today in what is known as Black August. Let me give a shout out to Nweze Solutions. And, I've been following the Nweze Solutions social media pages for a few months now. And I was commending our brother on being consistent in providing what we really, really need, and that's solutions to our problems. When you think about the problems of Black folk, like the book of problems for Black folk is about this big, or even bigger. But the problem is the book of solutions to those problems, unfortunately, are not as big because we focus more on the problems than we do the solutions. So shout out to Nweze Solutions for yet another opportunity for us to learn and grow. So as it relates to Black August, today is what many perceive or many call or celebrate as Black August. Black August, let me first say that every month is Black History Month, all right? I think we can all agree with that. But Black August was coined Black August by some inmates in the California prison system to honor our brother George Jackson, who was a revolutionary who died in the belly of the beast in California, fighting for freedom, justice, and equality. Also to honor Jonathan Jackson, who died in the California prison system trying to free the Soledad brothers. I mean, go look up Jonathan Jackson. He took a judge, kidnapped a judge, and was literally trying to physically, literally free his brother, the same way our dear sister Assata Shakur was freed by her brothers from New York, the New York City penitentiary system. And so both of these incidents took place in August in California. So in the early 70s, the brothers behind the wall, and we know we've got some brilliant brothers and sisters who happen to be languishing in America's prisons right now, they decided to coin the month of August Black August. So Black August is about George Jackson, it's about Jonathan Jackson. It's also the month that the Nat Turner Rebellion took place. I want to say that the March on Washington took place in Black August. So there are a number of very significant events that took place during the month of August that helped to elevate the consciousness of our people. Blood was shed during the month of August so that we could, be able to be where we are right now as a people. I'll just put it like that. So, it's very, very important and very significant that we study what is those incidents that took place that caused those brothers to want to call this Black August. But August is also a month of Black consciousness. In the grassroots community, it's a month of fasting. It's a month of rededication and recommitment to the struggle for liberation of our people. And I think that it's a good month for every last one of us to figure out, how can we get involved? And that's the point that I really want to make before I throw the microphone back to my brother Kavanaugh. Brothers and sisters, there are many ways to protest. Marching is a form of protest. Obviously, breaking your brother or your sister out of jail like like Jonathan Jackson tried to do, that's a way of protest as well. Some people protest by doing what they call hunger strikes. Our brother who calls himself by the rap name C Murder is on a hunger strike right now in Louisiana, protesting the injustices in the Louisiana prisons. So there are hundreds of ways to protest. But in this day and age in which we live, it is my humble opinion that the best and most effective form of protest is to support your own. And one of the most significant ways for us to support our own is to support our own financially. Now, when we were freed from slavery, Black people in America owned about 1% of the wealth in the United States of America when we were freed from slavery during the Emancipation Proclamation. Last time I checked the numbers, in 2021, Black people own about 1% of the wealth in the United States of America. But at the same time, we have over $1 trillion in spending power. Again, spending power. And that's the problem. We're using the money that we have as spending power and not investment power, building power and, circulation power. Like they say that it takes 8 minutes and 20 seconds for the blood in the body to circulate from the heel to the head, all the way back down to the heel. If at any point that circulation is interrupted, let's say somebody stabbed you in the side, God forbid that happened to any of you or us, and you start bleeding out of your side, if that wound is not addressed properly and timely, at some point you will lose your life. That's how important blood circulation is to the body. I would like to say that just as important as blood circulation is to the body, economic Black dollar circulation is just as important to our financial health in our communities. So the best way for us to celebrate and to honor Black August and those who died for us is for us to make certain that we take our dollars this month and support Black-owned businesses like never before. This is something practical that we all can do. You don't have to pick up a protest sign. You don't have to use a hashtag. You don't have to say a word. All you have to do is take your dollars and put your dollars where your dollars belong, and that is in a circulatory manner in the Black community. So this show is also dedicated to our brothers and sisters who are quote unquote ex-offenders, who when they get out of the prison system, many of them have a hard time, not just getting a job, but they have a hard time even finding a place to lay their head. And for those who don't have a record, a so-called criminal record, it's difficult to get a job out here for some people who don't even have a record. So when brothers and sisters are freed from the belly of the beast, they had, they run into a double problem, especially if you're Black. But that being said, we want to encourage every last so-called ex-offender to consider going into business for yourself. And in going into business for yourself, you're gonna need brothers like Kavanaugh Nweze to help you navigate the legal and financial things that you have to do to lay the foundation so that your business is one that outlives you. Same thing with our youth. When I go into schools, Brother Kavanaugh, and I speak to our young brothers and sisters, When I ask the question, how many of you in here want to be your own boss? Every hand in the room goes up. So our young people want to own something. They want to be able to point at something and say, yes, I got rich, but I got rich off of my own ideas. And the information that our brother will be bringing us today is going to be tantamount. And it's going to be very, very important, because too often we start businesses, but we don't have our paperwork together. We don't have our structure together. And the last thing I'll say is this. One of my favorite sayings is, you should never be more angry than you are organized. So it's okay to be angry, but you got to make sure that you're more organized, because this organized anger has gotten us anywhere. And it's the same way with entrepreneurship. If we're going to be effective as entrepreneurs and really build that we can pass on to our children, we got to be organized. We got to get our paperwork together, and we got to depend and rely on brothers like Kavanaugh Nweze of Nweze Solutions. So that's all I have to say. If you have any questions for us, please feel free to put those questions. I think we're taking them in the chat. And I've said my piece, Brother Kavanaugh. I'm ready to learn, bro.
Give thanks. I appreciate you. I appreciate it. And then, like I said, don't be shy. If there's any comments, any questions, please drop them in the chat, and we make sure that we can get to it. Now, and at the same time, Brother Derek, it was like, man, I know you personally, and I forget to, like, how am I supposed to follow that when we talk about speaking publicly? I'm gonna do my best. I'm gonna do my best. So I appreciate you for sharing your words and your time with us today. And just like he said, we Black August is very special to both of us and to all of us, I believe, that's on the call right now. And it's time to we party, we go to festivals, we might listen to a new album, watch an online concert, things of that nature, but it's about true action, right? And knowing that Black August started in the penitentiary system, we wanted to really make sure that we gave some solutions that is effective for not only just people coming out of the system, but just any and everybody, right? So number one is, we know that recidivism is linked to unemployment. When people do not have jobs, we're looking at, I think the stats will tell us maybe almost 70 to 90% of individuals who do not have a full-time job when they come out end up going back to jail. And a lot of people who ended up there in the first place would tell you whatever they did, the majority of them would or didn't do, it was somewhere centered around trying to feed their family. And if you know me for a little while, food and being sustainable is important to me. So this is another aspect of being sustainable and sustaining families. Now, another thing that we started with, this series is called Entrepreneurship Solutions. So, but we also have to understand what entrepreneurship is. So it's a difference between a small business owner and an entrepreneur. A small business owner is someone who they own a job, if you will. Like for me, honestly, certain things in our firm will not be completed if I do not show up, if I do not delegate, if I do not have that meeting with the client. And that's perfectly okay. I have a job. I've created my own job. And just like Brother Derek said, I'm a boss. I'm my own boss. I got almost like the Biggie song, I'm the client and the president, you know what I mean? So, which is fine. And that's a great job, because once you start a business, the biggest barrier, or one of the most common barriers for people coming out of the system, is background checks. When you show up with a business card and with a DBA, a LLC, they not running no background check on you personally. They might look up a few things about your business, but it has nothing to do if you were a felon, how many times. All of that part is omitted. It's no longer a question. It's just like, it's this company. It's Derek Muhammad LLC. Derek Muhammad, the person, is a entire different entity. So that's another thing that we have to remember. And for so long, so many people in these situations, we always say, I got pencil whipped, or we've been in in the education system, and they teaching us how the pen is mightier than the sword, but they don't really teach us how to use the pen. So we wanted to take a few minutes today to talk about how we can use the pen so we can combat the struggles that we deal with every day. And it's something that I'm dealing with now. Like I said, I've created a job. I don't have to go submit an application. We're good, things of that nature. So now, as being a small business owner, we own our job. We're our own boss. But an entrepreneur is someone who has attained resources, organized these resources to achieve a purpose, and they're able to extract the profit. One of the biggest differences is that this entrepreneur, they don't have to show up. So some of the most common people that you might think about as an entrepreneur, let's say, what's his name? Damon John from FUBU, right? He can do anything that he wants to. He doesn't have to go and design another shirt, sell another shoe or anything. He does what he chooses to do, but he doesn't have to do any of those things. I think they did a deal with Puma now, so it's not really FUBU. They work with Puma, right? But Damon don't have to show up. Or the Jeff Bezos, the Elon Musk, or whatever have you. Amazon runs whether Jeff Bezos is there or not. Elon Musk does not sell a car, service a car, or I was about to say he don't fly on SpaceX, but I think he's trying to get that squared away to where he can actually fly. But the premise is that the business does not stop because this person does not show up. So we want to help people start that journey from small business to become to where a true entrepreneur, where you have set up this asset for your family and so you can extract that profit for what's most important to you, right? So that's the number one thing. And then we have to understand how we all talk about supporting small business, but this is some very, very basic principles that we omit. People just kind of jump into it. And yes, we got to get started, but it's a lot of things that I've seen people steps or it's a lot of steps that I've seen skipped or mishandled. We get a lot of questions. Can I do an S corp? Can I do a trust? What do you know about just all of the things that they read on the internet, they watch on YouTube? And the answer is yes to all of the questions. You can do all of them, but we have to start with a firm foundation. So what I did today, or what I did and what I want to share with you today is I want to share what I call my 10 steps, my 10 steps to small business success. And from there, we can take wherever we want to go from there. All right. So I got a little thing here. Oh, I need to, can Kool-Aid help me? I need some, the share capabilities. But so I'm gonna start off. So the step one is identify your skill or your passion, whatever it is. If it's speaking, if it's artwork, if it's cutting lawns, fixing cars, you need to know what you do well. If it's aligning people for a similar purpose. I see we got Miss Malone on, right? So shout out to Malone, Miss Malone.
Good day.
And hey, but she does well of galvanizing people, and the same with Brother Derek, right? And getting us all in line for a purpose. That's a skill, so once you identify that, now the next thing we need to do is we have to analyze our competition. What we call it in our terms, we got to peep the scene, learn their processes, and not only learn their processes, but learn their prices. And believe it or not, that might be the most difficult thing. You can get on Google, but also you can give them a call them as a client. Like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. I need this service. I need my lawn cut. I might need some PR services. What does that cost? If I choose your firm, what's your process as a new client? And believe it or not, they'll give away the game. That's how I kind of learned. I walked into the H&R Block and I started asking questions 6 years ago. It works. And then we have the internet. So then after that, once we realize how our competition is working, we got to determine our value proposition. My value proposition is I want to give back to my community. A lot of times financial services show up in my community. They're either inadequate or they're exploitative. I don't want to be either one. So that's my value proposition. I want to make sure that we're giving more than we're taking off top, right? But any everybody else, you're gonna have a different proposition. But this is how you sell and market your business or your service. Then you start providing it. You believe me, what we do now is not what we did 6 years ago when we first opened our office. So we have to be able to just start from where we are, and then it's a constant process to learning how to improve. And that can be from getting feedback from clients, reaching out to a mentor. Google is great. YouTube is great. All of these things, there is nothing new under the sun. Success leaves clues, right? So these are all I wouldn't say hypothetical, but more of principles that you need to put into action, right? Then we come down to the paperwork. So the first level of paperwork, and I'm gonna go ahead and share this here so you can follow me. But the first level, and I'm like, I'm on step 6. So 1 through 5 is just really getting started, identifying that process and then going from there. But step 6 is get a DBA. What a lot of people don't understand, a DBA is the same as a nickname. You know, it's like some people might call me Cav, or, you know, some other things, right? But it's still Kavanaugh. You get that nickname, you do business up under that nickname. Some people think my name is Kevin, believe it or not. They can't pronounce Kavanaugh. They didn't hear Kavanaugh. You get that nickname, but that is still you doing that business. You, at that point, the technical term is you are a sole proprietor, right? Then you get you an EIN. An EIN is a business social security number. It's free. Anybody that's charging you to get an EIN, it is absolutely free. All you have to do is go to irs.gov, follow the instructions. They may have a few confusing questions, but it's very, very simple. And then you use that DBA and that EIN, everything. At that point, after 6 and 7, you're ready to go into a bank and start your business bank account, get a business credit card, all of those fun things, right? The next step is your LLC. Now, a lot of people get this confused, but an LLC is an entity. It's a natural person. Like Kavanaugh Nweze is a person. Kavanaugh Nweze can buy property, enter contracts. I can vote, you know, things of that nature. An LLC can do everything as a person can do, but except vote. So just like they talk about purchasing vehicles in your company name, hiring your children. These are very real things that you can do, but you need that LLC. A LLC is legal protection. If you're starting from scratch, people always ask me, when do I need a LLC? Honestly, my rule of thumb is I have two rules. First, do you have at least $30,000 in income, in revenue, you know, at the least? And then the second is, are you in the risky business industry? And when I say risky business industry, I'm talking about, like, are you feeding people? Are you taking care of somebody's children? Things of that nature that is risky in itself, right? You're feeding me. You got to take into context my allergies, all of these things, how you prepared the food, all of those. It's a risky thing. It might seem like a simple practice, but you incur a lot of risk. That LLC prevents you from being sued, pretty much. Or if you are sued, it protects your personal assets. So Kavanaugh Nweze Financial Solutions are two distinctly different entities. If something happens in Nweze Financial Solutions, nothing happens to Kavanaugh. So that's the thing that we forget. And a lot of people end up being, they don't handle it right. And so then that's the basics, right? If you are talking about contracting, you know, government contracts where it's billions of dollars available to people, you need that LLC and you need business insurance. That's a little extra caveat, but it opens the doors. And then once again, if you go get a government job, they're doing background checks. If you go get a government check, all they checking is your LLC and do you have business insurance? Most government contracts, you need to be in business at least 2 years. So you need to start today. That was in that. That's the next key, right? Another, when we talk about LLC, if you started off as a DBA, and bear with me, let me know if it's a little bit confusing. If you started off as a DBA and you have an EIN for your DBA, you might need to update your EIN or get a new one. What a lot of people don't realize is that LLC becomes a suffix to your name. Kavanaugh Nweze Jr. and Kavanaugh Nweze are two different people, similar to Nweze Financial Solutions and in Nweze Financial Solutions LLC. That is a very different entity. Once you get whether it's a LLC, a corp, a Inc., whatever it is, that becomes a part of your name. So we've seen clients to where they have a DBA and an EIN, then they take the next step to get their LLC. It doesn't connect. So, and there's a way where you can update your EIN. You can contact the IRS, or you can just get a new EIN, which is important. You might want to update it because depending on it, let's say you are doing government contracting, you've been in business for 3 years, you get a brand new EIN, the government looks it up. It's like you only been in business for 1 year. But so that means you should have just changed the prior EIN that you need. Now I know I'm going in a lot more in depth than what's on the screen here. So if you have any questions, please drop them in the chat and I can make sure that I can dive into that. But LLC, the key, the LLC, the Inc., the corp, whatever it is, it's a suffix to your name. You can't omit it. If you did some other work, you need to go back and change that. Okay. Then we got to keep track of all business income. I have some basic spreadsheets. Even if you're not using the software, I have some basic Excel spreadsheets that you can use. Or even if you're not there yet, the very least, you remember when I said the DBA and the EIN, you can go get your bank account. Put everything in the bank account. Somebody pay you cash, you deposit it in the bank account. So whatever happens for your business, it happened in that bank account. And you can go pull the bank. Believe me, they got statements up to wazoo. It might not be available for a little while or after a little while online, but you can always go and you can request those statements. If you have any issue about records, they're there. And also another caveat, yes, everybody needs receipts, but if you don't need receipts, guess what works for the IRS? Bank statements, because the IRS knows that Bank of America is not going to lie if I had $200 leave my account or not, you know. So that's just another back end way to do, just to get it in as best as possible. Do not commingle those funds. If you need a separate bank account. If you have a personal bank account, cool, make some transfers, send it over there. You use your personal money, but that business money needs to stay in its business bank account. And that can help you with your record keeping. If you need help if you want to take a look at these special spreadsheets or simple spreadsheets that we have, drop your email in the chat. I can send it over to you. We send it out all the time for people just to use month to month to keep track of that. And then we have to file federal, state, and local reports every year annually. It seems very simple, but it is not that. And I will tell you this, like we talk about in pencil whipping and things of that nature. The IRS, the state of Texas, any local government, all these instructions, all the forms that you need to do is on their website. You can go to comptroller.texas.gov. You can go to irs.gov, and all the instructions are there. And you could, if you don't understand, the IRS has what's called a taxpayer advocate, which you don't pay them anything. This person works for the IRS. You got IRS issues, they can get you straight. And the same thing with the comptroller. A lot of people treat these entities and treat these letters like it's out of fear. Exactly. They have a certain fear when they get a letter. The worst thing you can do is ignore those letters. Call those people. Believe me, they want you to be in compliance. You can give them a call and be like, hey, I got your letter. I ain't got it. This is a real thing. Tell them I ain't got it. You know, I'm not ignoring you. What can I do? Can I have these fees reduced? Can I extend? Can we change this deadline because I need more time? All of the things you can do that. Once we don't pick up the phone, don't answer the letter, it's not helping. Every one of these entities have a way where you can extend these deadlines, and you can. And all of the instructions are available to you. If you cannot understand them, please contact us. If you need help, like I said, they have people that help you. We do our like 30-minute free consultations just to get you pointed in the right direction. And then you take it from there. And then if you're able to complete these 10 steps regularly and continuing to learning and improving on your model, then we can start talking about the S corps, the trust, because you got the business bank account is growing like grass. Now you need to figure out where to put this money. Then that's where we come into play. Or you need to figure out how to reduce what you pay. Then that's the move. But these are very, very basic things, and they have to be taken care of, and you will be protected. You can build assets for yourself and for your family, and never again do you have to ask somebody for a job, ever. So please, I'm here to help. Brother Derek's here to help, and we want to make sure that we spread this information. Any questions, comments? What you think? Let me know. Brother Derek, did this make sense to you?
Yeah, it makes sense. And not only does it make sense, this is very critical information, because a lot of us have great ideas and we know how to get started, but it's almost like sometimes out of fear of these entities that you're talking about, we think that we can get around this process.
Mm-hmm.
That we think we can still keep the money in the shoebox and, dig in and out of it. You can only go so far.
Exactly.
Like that. And if you grew up in the 80s like me, in the drug dealer culture, where there was a lot of cash and it was all about hustling. And I guess maybe you can address this, Kavanaugh, because you from the culture just as much well as I am. What's the difference between a hustler and a businessman? Or is there a difference?
You're
Paperwork.
legit.
Paperwork. Woo!
You're legit. Yep. Paperwork.
That's it. That's that they doing the same thing. And it remind me, it remind me of Pac. And I remember when I was a kid, I was like, yeah, I knew what I wanted to be, because Pac said it. Man, you ain't got to be a drug dealer, man. You can be an accountant. You ain't got to, you ain't gonna be out here pimping. You can be a lawyer. You know what I mean? And I listen to that today, and I'll be like, yes, I'm glad I listened to Pac. You know what I mean? Biggie, just Biggie wasn't giving out them type of lessons. I'm just gonna say that. But anyways, but yeah, that's it. It's the exact same thing. And believe it or not, it's something that I have I see every day, and I acknowledge, like, these brothers selling candy on the corner, that can turn it, the next step is a corner store, young brother. You washing cars, we can, keep doing it, you know what I mean? And then we can get you a brick and mortar, or you pulling up to people. Let's get you a business truck to where you can drive up and you can go and put your the power wash thing on the back. You pulling up and you driving, you washing cars in their own driveway. All of these things can be done. And then you can take it to the next level, where you use this paperwork to leverage more assets, whereas get a business loan, get a business credit card, all of the things legally, all of the PPPs and EIDLs, all of that. But once you get that paperwork right, it's a breeze, but we'll believe, because it's the paperwork that has us in captivity. If these folks going to court, talking to lawyers, what they doing? Well, I guess it's more digital now, but they shuffling paperwork from one place to another. They talk about your record. Your record that's your paperwork. So let's talk about your business history. And then when you walk into banks, guess what they asking for? Paperwork. I want to see your business tax returns. I want to see your financial statements. And so this is where we can leverage all the things that they get. We can do it, and we can do it even better, because we're gonna add a little flavor to it.
Absolutely.
All right. Any other questions, concerns, special special worries, special issues, each one teach one, somebody's problem and somebody else's solution. let me know. That's what we're here for. You got something for me? Anybody?
Um, real estate investing, actually, that is what I'm starting now, and I'm just starting in it. So
Mhm.
I think I was debating if I should, because I have an LLC already for my current business. We've been in business for 7 years.
Mhm.
And so I was debating if I should just do a DBA under the same LLC,
Mhm.
or if I should start a new LLC, like a completely separate one.
Got it. So when we talk about real estate investing, I would say it really depends on, it's so many different methods of it.
Right.
If you're talking about holding a large asset, like you're going to be holding that property for a long period of time, I would recommend a different LLC, because
Okay.
that's a different house. Because if something happens in your the older, the 7-year-old LLC, then the property becomes it
Like
becomes a part
collateral.
of it, and it comes up for grabs too, right?
Right.
But and so it's a separate stream. So if you were saying something something small, I do recommend that you start within that LLC until you get to that same point, like I said, at least 30-40 grand annually, and then
Mhm.
you can split it out, because it's going to have to stand on its own. And when I say stand on its own, it's going to have its own reports, it's going to have its own bank account, so on and so forth. But if it's a smaller entity and there's not much risk, we can start it there, because guess what? Those startup costs of the new endeavor are tax write-offs
Right.
to the old endeavor, you know?
So yeah, well, I have my first deal already, and I'm doing wholesaling to start.
Okay.
And so I want to wholesale a few properties and then go into flipping. Um, my
So,
first deal, I'm already gonna make like 20, just over 20,000 on that one. So I'm really, that's why I was like, should I just, and then if I do it within this LLC, maybe for this first deal, just for the sake of time, because it looks like we're gonna be closing in a week.
mhm.
Um, if I do it within this one, do I just do a DBA? Or
Yeah,
just, because my,
at this point, when if you at that point in wholesaling, I don't think you're gonna have enough time to
okay,
change that information over. And the thing with wholesaling is it's quick, right? You're not
yes.
really holding that asset. You're
Mhm.
providing a service. You're the go
Okay.
through, so I think it's okay. And then until you get to the point to where you're actually purchasing and holding assets.
Okay,
You see what I'm saying? Because if something
yeah,
happens on that property, then things of that nature. But in wholesaling, you got a couple of signatures and some phone calls to make.
right,
It's not much risk there.
right.
And all those contracts, you're protected. So that's why I say it depends on the form.
Right.
Yeah, and then we can take it from there.
Thank you.
No problem, no problem. Brother Derek, you was about to say something?
Yes, sir. I have a question, or just something that I would ask that you address. Like you talk about the importance of having an LLC, and it sounds like that's basically for the protection of your assets, like your personal assets. So
Mhm.
could you please speak on the importance of protecting the assets? Like, why is that so important? Maybe some examples of assets that were unprotected. Like, what are the fallbacks, or what are the consequences of not protecting your assets? And I know I know it's the 3-part question,
It's all good.
but also talk about the importance of protecting ideas.
Mm,
Um,
Oh, that's good.
yeah,
got it. Got it. All right. So protecting assets. If you talk about not protecting your asset, right? Well, we're gonna deal with the affirmative. Let's do that. So we it's legal protection. The only way, if you have an LLC, the only way you could possibly become personally liable is if there is intent and negligence can be proven. So if Kavanaugh, for some crazy odd reason, intentionally made the wrong stroke on Mr. Muhammad's tax return, Kavanaugh is personally liable, right? In that event, not only what we own as a business, as a firm, becomes liable for you to recoup your losses or the damages that has occurred. Now what I own personally, my personal home, my personal vehicle, and even my personal bank accounts. If the business doesn't have enough, then personally, since I did that action, I become responsible to to recoup, so you can recoup your losses, right? That's what's at risk. um and yeah, so I remember, help me out with the 3 points again, brother Derek. I know you were talking about the risk of what happens if you don't, right?
Right, the consequences of not protecting your assets, protecting yourself.
Yeah, that is the consequence. And then you got to come off your personal bread. Though whatever I have stashed away, you know, I need to get brother Derek back to where he was before I made that mistake, or that it really is in essence a crime, or that wrongdoing. And that's not what you want to do. And sometimes it's, even if, now if it's in the event that, let's say I don't have an LLC, right? And I made a I had a corner store, what'd you say, Ezel, I slipped, I fall, my neck, my back, and my back, right? I'm running a corner store, I'm sole proprietor, all of that. So if Ezel is really hurt, you know what I mean, all of those doctor bills, my business needs to cover that. But I'm doing it as a person, so it's not just my business. This is my nickname. This is Cav did it, but Kavanaugh Nweze has the assets. He is responsible for hurting brother Ezel, and I'm gonna knock on some wood because I don't want to hurt nobody. But now everything the business has, everything that he has, is liable to be sent to brother I think it's Ezel until he is, his bills are covered. He's back in full force to do whatever Ezel likes to do. So it and yeah, and also another benefit which a lot of people don't look at is business credit, or I wouldn't say a lot of people don't look at, that we don't talk about enough. So right now, if I'm a sole proprietor and I want a credit card, they're gonna run my personal credit, my personal social security number, they're looking for personal tax returns, so on and so forth. But as a business owner, and I have that LLC, that corporation, that is a completely different entity, and it has a credit report of its own. Depending on the type of structure, that deal that you have, they might look at like, hey, we need to run the credit of one owner or some sort, But basically, it's based off the financial history of the business of Nweze Financial Solutions, not Kavanaugh Nweze. And if you don't have that extra entity, you haven't created that history, it becomes issue when you want to go walk in the bank, because it's like, what is the credit worthiness? How long will you be in existence? If I just see you just filed this paperwork 2 days ago, and now you want a $50,000 loan for a 2-day-old baby, and because that's what it is. We're creating natural persons. Just like we have birth certificates, our businesses have filing certificates. Just like we have social security numbers, our businesses have EIN numbers, and they work the exact same. So I hope that helps.
And protecting ideas. I know that may not be directly your arena. You're not a lawyer, a trademark lawyer or anything, but I know it got to go in line with building your businesses and protecting your assets, because our ideas get snatched away from us like 90, and that's how a lot of wealth gets stolen from us. Our ideas are stolen on the ground level. Could you please just talk about the importance of protecting ideas?
Definitely. So first, I would recommend that you, if it's that case that where you have to protect that idea, I would definitely first protect self, right? By having that LLC, that separate entity. And then when you have that idea, you document that idea, and you make sure that that idea is documented and it belongs to that said entity that you own. But yes, that is a little bit more of a legal matter, but that's the very basics of it. and we have a connection with the lawyer that we've done that that does that type of work. And really, I'll be talking to her today, but it is important because it's that asset that generates the income. So whoever owns that asset on paper is the one who really owns the income. So if you don't own that intellectual property, then that means that then when we talk about what you hear in the entertainment industry, people talking about somebody bought the rights to someone's catalog, because that means whoever owns those rights is this a person who gets those royalties, who gets those benefits, the kickback for using that particular asset. And it is an asset. So it is important, but it's our intellectual property that is what creates value. You know, it's the difference between coming getting your taxes done here in H&R Block. It's not because it's a different process, it's a different service. It's the same service, but it's because of how we show up, who we are, and how we decide to serve, that you decided to do business with us. You know, so that's a form of intellectual property, which is something that we're looking at here in turn, in which happens with a lot of franchise owners, right? So in McDonald's, we all know, well, you might not know, but a lot of people, you know, you can't sell a Big Mac if you're not a part of that franchise, because that's a part of their intellectual property, their recipes, their genetic, their appearance. It's a whole bunch of other technical terms, but that's intellectual property. Those colors, those golden arches, you know, I guess I keep on quoting pop culture, but I was about to say, we saw it coming to America. You know, when McDonald's was coming for McDowell's, it was too close. You know, and even in this instance of LLC, in the process of you creating an LLC, if there's another company who has a name that is close to yours, let's say you want to do building construction LLC, and you got building construction companies all over, right? And they will tell you like, no, you can't use this name. It's too close to somebody else's name, which is a form of intellectual property. If you want to use this name, you have to get a signed letter from the previous owner, from this original Building Contractors LLC, and they have to send us a letter to say that they approve you using that name. So that's a form of intellectual property that we deal with. But if we're talking about protecting a particular process, then or a particular image, then that's when we got to get the lawyers involved. We got to call Johnny Cochran them. That's helpful. All right. Any other questions? Kool-Aid, I say you touched on the real estate investing. Was that helpful to you? Yes, no?
I had actually pulled that from, I'm not sure how to pronounce the young lady's name, but yes, I pulled that from the registration.
Okay. Don, you good? Any questions? Concerns?
No questions. Just very much need to get my LLC, so that's all. I'm concerned about that. So
Already.
that's it.
Yeah, and so it's simple. It's a relatively simple process. You in that case, like you would have you go to Secretary of State, Texas, the Texas Secretary of State, and you can do it online. You can use their web file. You can pay, and if there is no issues with the name, they'll email you your documents within 48 hours. It's a relatively simple form, and then just like all of these other entities, they have the form and they have the instructions there. You can do it by mail, or you can do it by right there online. I think I frequent these websites often, so it's sos.tx.gov, something like that. But it's Secretary of State for Texas.
So Kavanaugh, I was just going to say too, I'm so glad that you said it in that way that you did, because when you just and this has not been my issue, I just didn't realize truly how important it was, because I have my DBA sole proprietorship like really just starting, but I need to go ahead and do that. But like when you Google it, there are all of these websites that pop up that say pay $500, pay $350. Can you talk about if those are if people should do that, you know, if you're not, just kind of maybe educate us.
Got it. So number one, the state fee is $300. Anything over that is when you do it online, it's like 308. But if you mail in that money, it's 300 even. But if any other price over $300, you're paying that person to provide that service. They might give you a pretty package or something of that nature, but anything above that $300, you're paying them for the service of filing that paperwork for you. That's it. And the way we do it, we do have a fee similar to that, but a part of our fee is included in that. A part of the state fee is included what we charge our clients. So all we end up doing is passing on that $300. But yes, usually most states is $300, $250, things of that nature. Anything else after that is exorbitant. Honestly, what we charge $550 because we do the LLC, we do the EIN and a couple other things, and we talk you through the process to make sure that you're good to go. So in essence, you're paying us $250 to set up your company. It's a lot of folks that do $700, $1,500, $1,200, all of the things, and they, you know, they'll charge you $1,200 and they'll give you a nice pretty binder. You just paid an extra $500, extra $700 for that binder, pretty much. So yeah, that's pretty much what we're dealing with.
Thank you.
Does that help? But yeah, check out that website, the website in the chat that Kool-Aid dropped in. Check it out. You can get the instructions, the forms. You can print out the forms. Before the first few LLCs that I did, I printed that stuff out. I did it by hand. I read through the instructions, and really the first couple of tax returns I did the same thing. You can go to the IRS website, print out the forms, print out the instructions. As long as you can read and comprehend those instructions, you can do your own taxes. Honestly, it might be a little bit complicated. You got to follow the formulas, but it's there. That information is available and free to everybody. Anything else, anything that we do is a convenience, honestly, and you pay for our experience, you know, but this information is free and open to the public. There is no reason that nobody should have access. It should have limited access. If you can go to the library, you can get all this information. Okay. Everybody, thank y'all. I know you can be anywhere else in the world, but y'all decided to hang out with us today. You know, that means a lot to me. And I know we got some powerful folks on the call. So I want to thank you. Thank you, Kool-Aid, for helping us out, making sure that we run everything on time. All of that good stuff. Brother Derek, thank you for coming. All of that. And to our attendees, thank you. Please tell your friends and your family. What I'm gonna do is we got these little 10 points. We can send that out. We have a spreadsheet that we, like I said, that simple Excel spreadsheet that we send, and we use that for our clients. When our clients come in and need tax preparation and they have businesses, no bookkeeping, we send them a simple Excel form. Some of them fill it out on their own, you know, and just we're here to provide information and resources, and we can go from there. And Ms. Arsenault, I'll make sure we get that to you, and we'll be sending all of that, this recording, all of that, we'll be sending that out by Monday. All right. So thank y'all. Brother Derek, thank you
awesome.
again.
Thank
man.
you. This was so helpful, y'all. Thank you.
No problem. All right.
Okay,
y'all have
bye.
a good one. Have a good evening, good weekend, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Kool-Aid, you good?
All right. Yes, sir.
All right, we did it. We did
Yeah,
it.
that was pretty good.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How you feel?
I feel good. And then we even with less people, at least they was more engaged in the last couples that we had. You know, Don is a good friend and community member, so it's good to see that she jumped on. We haven't done no work for her, but she's a good, well, I've worked with her, believe it or not. We were connected with the farmers market. She used to work for the management district and stuff I had to interface with. So it's funny how all these things come together.
All comes back around. Yeah, those connections, those relationships. Yeah,
Yeah. So it's good people, good
definitely.
people. But yeah, yeah. So I think I got one more thing on my calendar for the day, and I know I gotta. Oh, they didn't put. Oh no, I think I'm free.
Oh,
Put
I'm
it on
still
Monday.
recording. Hold on.
Oh, it's still recording. I'm over talking trash.